Hello, this episode is all about strawberries, growing, maintaining, propagating, and actually this year I focused on growing strawberries in pots. They are quite a good plant to grow in pots. Strawberries are easy to grow and I really would say a lifetime to master. They're not a plant that you can put in the ground and just have it there and get strawberries every year if you give it a bit of care. They're a plant that has a cycle that requires propagation if you're going to be using your own plants. If you do let your plants run on wild like I have in certain places, they do make quite a nice ground cover, but your fruit becomes less and less because the plant really only produces fruit up to its first 4 years. Hi, I'm Robin and I've been filming my little permaculture garden over the last year. But as you can see, if you've watched my other videos, you'll know I'm not in my garden. I'm at the WOODFORD Folk Festival, soaking up the 36 degrees centigrade, gorgeous weather, and the beautiful music vibes, and the nice food. This place is amazing. So it's on about 500 acres and the festival owns the space. They started planting indigenous trees to the area in about the 90s, and so now they're big, tall rainforest trees, and so you're walking amongst cool tree canopies. And it has a very decompressing vibe to it. I highly recommend it if you're in the area or feel like traveling for it. Lots of butterflies everywhere. It's very beautiful. So I've been enjoying every now and then just chilling and editing this video, and so you will see bits of the Woodford vibe running through this video as I talk about strawberries. If you have ever picked your own homegrown strawberry when the conditions have been perfect and it's been a warm sunny day and you pick it off the plant and you eat it, that flavour will keep you going for a lifetime of gardening. It is sheer perfection. Well, hopefully in this episode I can give some advice on how best to tip the balance towards that perfect strawberry. There are some very good flavoured strawberries that you can buy in the farmers markets these days, but it's still hit and miss compared to that moment when you forage in your garden and pick that strawberry. I'm very much into permaculture and organic gardening, and I'm always seeking that perfect flavour that comes out of your own homegrown vegetables. I've got about 600 and something square metres, and that includes my house and all my hard surfaces. And so it is a small space, and so this year I definitely looked at focusing on growing strawberries in pots. The benefit of growing strawberries in pots is that it gets the strawberries off the ground where they can sometimes rot if they're in contact with the soil. You can move the pots around to some good light. Also, you can go a bit vertical in a pot, and that's good if you're space challenged. I've got this really large strawberry pot and I've had it for about 20 years, but it's pretty much abandoned, except for some tarragon and some violets. And it's abandoned because really plants didn't do very well in it in the past. I've tried strawberries in it and they dried out, and I think I have some herbs in there at some point. And so I'm going to give this old pot one more go, put some fresh soil in and be more regular in the watering and care. Give it a little gentle squeeze and in it goes. When planting, make sure you avoid burying the crown. I guess the mistake with this would be to overfill it so that the water runs out. The general way to improve the flavour and yield of your strawberry is simply to meet its basic needs. A full sun position, a really rich soil enriched with compost. Bone meal is really good too as a slow release for phosphates, and I use seaweed and worm juice as well. Strawberries like a nice moist but not waterlogged soil, and they're quite shallow rooted so they can dry out quite easily, and so I do have a challenge ahead of me with this raised pot. And this is hard, but following planting, just take off all the young flowers and fruit to let the plant get established. Strawberries are propagated by runners, and runners are the offshoot of the original plant that will then sit on the soil and take hold and form a new plant. You can buy strawberry runners. They come without soil, and if you're starting a big veggie patch, it's a fast and relatively inexpensive way to get started. although you can grow strawberries by seed, but it's a lot slower process. In their first year, it's important to just cut those runners off and let the energy go into the parent plant. About year 2 of your plant, you do need to start propagating for the next season. When you cut the runners from the plants, you can just discard them, or you can keep them as well and propagate from them. Don't bury the runners, just place them very gently on the top of the soil. Some people buy little U-shaped pins to place over the runner and hold it in place. And don't cut the runner off once planted, leave it attached to the mother plant for a little while so that the mother plant can support its growth. And as soon as it starts to take hold and start putting on leaves, that's when you cut the runners. It's best to not let the plant produce strawberries in the first year and invest in them growing and strengthening. You also need to cut runners off in the first year. While 92-year-old artist Joyce is painting an ode to the strawberry, I'll talk about a few other things. There are lots of different strawberry varieties on the markets and lots to consider when choosing your variety. You might want a plant that produces a big heavy crop in late spring and summer, or you might want something more slow and steady throughout the season. You might want a hot pink flower or a white flower, a plant that doesn't produce runners. You might want a variety that's produced in your area and suitable to your conditions, a cooler climate variety, or one that can handle a more subtropical hot conditions. Strawberry plants prefer a temperate winter to set fruit. My region, where we get some really heavy frosts in winter, is a bit too cool, and the strawberry plants do get frosted and die off over the winter period, but they do come back in the early spring. The best time to plant strawberries is actually autumn, and that allows the plant to be well established for the following year. If you have specific needs for a variety, an internet search is probably the best option. If you want a mix of all those things, an easy way is to just buy a lot of different varieties. I get my strawberries from the local nursery, and also my next door neighbour enjoys making strawberry plants. So some other basic things about strawberries is that weeds affect yield, and so it's a good idea to weed around your plant. Cut off dead leaves around the plant, as that can lead to the spread of disease. The best strawberry flavour comes from an unwashed strawberry, but sometimes you do have to wash them. If you find your strawberries are a bit flavourless, maybe you've purchased a punnet that aren't great, or you've had a lot of rain in the season and the strawberries that you've grown are a bit bland, the flavours do come out with cooking. So here's a simple recipe for strawberry muffins, and it's a good way to use up perhaps strawberries that are disappointing in flavour. At most festivals and fairs in Australia, you'll often see mini pancakes, but I'm going to show you now how to make the world's most tastiest pancake. It's a Dutch recipe, and it's best paired with lemon, some brown sugar, some maple syrup, and fresh strawberries. I'll leave you with a few New Year's shots and wish you all the very best for the new year. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the subscriptions, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye.